What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about why Europeans drive manual cars. Now, here in America, it's definitely true that most of us drive automatic cars. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some weird Americans here that drive manual cars, or what we call stick shift, but it is something that was a lot more popular in America in the past, I think. More people did it, and nowadays in America, it is so rare. It is like a lost art. I myself, like most Americans, have no idea how to operate a manual car. I could not get the thing to move if I needed to. So until today, I really had no idea that in Europe, apparently manual cars are a lot more popular. Whereas here, they're quite rare. So I'm kind of curious to learn about why that is. I do understand that a manual transmission car gets better gas mileage. And, you got the clutch, the extra pedal, you got a stick shift. Maybe you honk the horn 3 times and pull a lever, and somehow the car works. I don't know. But today, I'm actually really curious to learn more details about why there's such a big discrepancy between how few Americans drive manual cars and how many Europeans drive them. So let's take a look.
I learned to drive with my mother's Mini, and when I turned 18, I went to get my driving license.
Okay. 18? What's the minimum driving age in Europe? Maybe it's different depending on what country you live in. Here in the United States, you can get your learner's permit even at 15. We got 15-year-olds out here driving cars. Do you guys have that? This guy happened to be 18 when he got his license, I think. So anyway, that's neither here nor there.
It was a manual transmission car, like 90% of all cars in Belgium.
What? I'm sorry, I don't mean to pause this again so quickly. We've only watched 10 seconds of the video. But I'm sorry, 90% of the cars. He's talking about Belgium, which I don't know if that's not representative of all of Europe, but even still, I didn't know there were any countries out there. 90% manual cars? I think that's probably the literal opposite here. We're 90% automatic or more. Wow, so operating a manual car, at least in Belgium, is just a fact of life. Like you're just going to learn how to operate a manual car. That's probably the car you're going to get. At least when this guy was 18 years old.
Where I live. When I turned 20, my father said I should drive his car to the restaurant we were heading for my birthday dinner. It was an automatic transmission car. A whole new world opened to me.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to shift gears anymore.
Yeah.
My left leg is free. Wow. I didn't think about it too much, as I thought it was something additional, a luxury on a higher end car to have like the Mercedes that my father had.
That's funny. From my point of view, it's like the addition of a clutch and a stick shift, and that's completely foreign to me and most Americans by far. Whereas in Europe, maybe it's more common that you start out in a manual car and you learn that, and then later maybe you switch to an automatic and you have the knowledge of the manual car and how to operate it, and you can choose whether you want that or the more simple automatic car. That's really totally different experience here.
6 months later, I found a company for my international internship in the land of opportunity. Okay, sorry about that. A buddy of mine and I rented a car for the first 2 weeks, and the only option available, automatic transmission.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you would be. If you're trying to rent a car, good luck if you want an manual. Good luck. It's not happening. Like, man, seriously, I'm trying to remember the last time I was in somebody's manual car. Years. Like a decade. I think I've been in 2 manual cars in my life that I can remember. And you're not going to find one for rent or, yeah, would that be more normal in Europe that you could rent a manual car? That's so different.
okay, no problem. I drove it once, I thought, and we got it. Later on, we bought an old 1991 Toyota Celica GT with automatic transmission. Well, that's odd, we thought. An old car with automatic transmission? In my mind, I'm still associating automatic transition being for luxury cars, so I couldn't place it well.
Oh, in his mind, automatic is a luxury. It's an added bonus. Here in America, especially for people my age or younger, that's by and far the normal. Like, if I encountered a manual car, I'd be like, whoa, shouldn't this be in a museum or something? Like we associate that with older cars. Whereas this guy associated automatic cars with luxury or something that's not normal, which is pretty funny to me.
1 month later, during my internship, my boss asks to get something, and I could use his car. When he hands over the keys, he says, "Can you drive a manual transmission?" And I
Oh,
was like, "Yeah, of course, I've got my license." And then he responded, "But this is the States, man. Not everyone can drive it." It got me thinking,
yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, here, the fact is, if your boss today threw an employee his keys and it was a manual car, it's highly likely, it's almost a certainty that that person would not be able to operate the car. That is truly a skill here in America that most of our population does not have. Hearing this story and how in Europe maybe you're more likely to be taught this at a younger age, maybe that would be a good thing. Just thinking about this, maybe that would be a good thing, in our driving classes, when we're learning to get this skill. Because believe me, the idea of trying to drive a manual car for most Americans, myself included, it's unthinkable. Like, there's no chance. There's no chance.
what does he mean? Are Americans bad drivers? When I arrived back
Yes.
in the office, I asked my colleagues what kind of transmission they have in their car, and all of them answered with automatic.
Yeah.
I was shocked to hear it. And when I said, in Europe most of us drive manual transmission, one colleague responded, "Why would you? Automatic is easy. Why would anyone take the harder option?"
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, I'm getting the opposite experience here. Him saying most Europeans drive manual, or what we call stick shift cars, that's shocking to me. From my point of view, that's shocking. I had no idea. It actually sounds pretty cool. I don't know how to do it. Now, why would you do that? I don't think I would ask, why would you do that? It is more complicated, and automatic cars are clearly brain dead easy to drive. I would know, I drive one. But the benefits of the benefits of a manual transmission, you certainly get more control over your vehicle. You get better gas mileage. I think other benefits as well, right?
I went away and did some research and found out the following information. In Europe, 80% of all new cars are manual transmissions, where in the States it's around 5%.
80% of cars, new cars in Europe are manual. 80%. It's that high. I'm shocked. I didn't know what we were talking about when we say Europeans drive manual. I was like, oh, okay, 50%, 60%, 80% of Europeans. Wow, this is just like normal for you guys. This is just it's a skill you're assumed to have by the sound of it. It would be kind of embarrassing maybe not to be able to drive a manual. Here in America, it's not, there's no shame in driving automatic. It's assumed you're going to. It's actually weird if you drive manual. Not that people will like get mad at you, but Americans would be like, dude, I can't drive your car. You got to do all this weird stuff when you're driving. Don't you want to relax and take it easy? What is this thing? And when you shift between gears, don't you really like feel the transition, right? And that's like a different feeling, and it's different. This is very different.
An automatic car is, generally speaking, 1,000 to 2,000 euros more expensive. The taxes on cars are very high, especially in West Europe and Scandinavian countries, where taxes can be up to 150%. So getting an automatic over there is a huge amount of extra money you'd pay.
In some parts of Europe, getting an automatic transmission, you get taxed more, and the car's more expensive. Really? Well, that would also explain why it's not as popular.
In most European countries, you pay an additional tax on the engine size and horsepower, which pushes the manufacturers into the smaller and lighter cars section, like an Audi A1 3-cylinder 1 litre. Where in the US, people tend to get 3-litre V6 or V8 engines.
Oh yeah.
Automatic transmission is heavier than manual, making your car weigh more, which causes more fuel consumption, which is a big no-no for Europeans because the gas prices are significantly higher there.
Yeah, this is all stuff we don't even think about. Like I said, it is assumed your car is automatic. It would be strange if it wasn't. We don't have any extra taxes on it. No one really thinks about like gas prices in that way because everyone's assumed to have automatic. This is just a whole different way of thinking about this in Europe. This makes a lot more sense to me now, why manual is so much more popular.
For example, in the US, a litre, where 1 litre is 0.264 gallons of gasoline, is about 0.81 USD. In Belgium, it's 1.62.
Wow.
UK, it's 1.64. And Italy, it's 1.84.
Twice the price of gas or more. At least when this video was made.
Driving a manual car is harder, and you need to regulate the clutch properly, or you will consume more fuel, which in proportion gets higher if you drive a V6 or V8 US car instead of a V4 Euro car. The maintenance...
Yeah, I do have to admit, for a long time, I did not even understand the advantages of driving a manual car when I was younger. And I really, like most Americans, used to think, why would you do it? Like, that just seems like such a hassle, such a drain on your brain, like all this stuff you got to do. Now, when I think about it, if you've been driving a manual car your entire life, it's probably second nature. It's probably not that big of a deal, not that much of a strain on your body. But for us Americans who drive automatic our entire life, especially once we become adults, the idea of switching over or learning, especially since we live in a society where, let's be honest, I'm not gonna run into an opportunity to drive a manual transmission car. I'd have to really go out of my way. And if I do that to get the benefits of it, now nobody I know can ever operate my car. If for whatever reason, if that was necessary, No one I know can use my car. Only I can use my car. Because no, it's so rare for Americans to know how to actually run a manual transmission car. Now, don't get me wrong. There are Americans, especially if you're older in America, who do know this lost art. But this is something.
Maintenance and repair costs of automatic cars are also higher compared with the manual.
Oh, okay.
Europe has a dynamic topography. The continent is dominated by narrower roads, hilly areas, crowded cities, and bumpy terrains. Driving through the roads of Europe thus calls for ultimate driving experience with manual transmissions.
Yeah.
Moving the gears up and down is more common when driving through the countryside area. Hence, manual offers seamless acceleration around the corners.
Wow, okay.
To summarise, the differences are mostly economical and geographical reasons.
Yeah.
Not really the way how people like to drive.
Right.
What do you think will happen in the future? Will the trend keep on going? Or will we see a change because of electrical vehicles? Let me know in the comments. And if you like the video...
True. This was a great video. This was great. This really opened my eyes. This was by Inspire and Lead by Cells. I gotta give this a like. This was great. That was a great story, too. Now I get it. Until today, I really did not know that this was a thing. In Europe, you guys like to drive manual cars. That's very cool. Completely different to here. And no, I don't. Especially with electric cars becoming more popular, there's no way this is going to change here in America. There's no way. Like, it's done. Automatic cars are here to stay. And especially with electric cars becoming more popular. But this is just kind of a cool little thing about Europe and European culture I didn't even know about. And got me thinking. So I quite enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. If you happen to be European, if you drive a manual car, what are your thoughts on all this? That'd be really fun to hear about, actually. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.